Hey everyone, thanks for joining for another episode of WuhooPoints. So we're talking about different credit card strategies. We've talked about some people that earn a lot of points by getting a lot of different cards. Some people that just focus on the Amtrak or Hilton cards. Today I have a special guest, Stephanie, who's going to talk about her credit card strategy. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we actually met on Threads. She posted something about how you don't need to get a ton of credit cards to get a decent amount of points for free travel. I was like, hey, this doesn't seem right. My strategy is about getting as many cards as I can to get a ton of points. So
Mhm.
we thought it'd be fun to just kind of talk about our different perspectives and just kind of see where things lay out there. But just first, want to give yourself a couple minutes to introduce yourself, what you do, and any fun trips you have planned or have done this year.
Sure, thanks. So yeah, my name is Stephanie, and I right now do a lot of different things. I wear many hats in the points and miles world. My biggest kind of gig right now is I am a coach within the Just Get Out of Town program, which some people might be familiar with or who have stumbled upon it on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm a coach in their program, and I also design courses with them, and I do point searching for our clients, kind of in the background. And I also do point searching for a couple other clients too. I work with Julia from GeoBreeze to help her clients. So I'm kind of like that person behind the scenes with the laptop, the really nerdy person who is just doing like hundreds of searches, and like no one exactly knows what's going on. They submit the request and they get back this like magical itinerary and they don't know where it came from. That's
Yeah,
me in the background doing that for lots of clients. Yeah.
that's awesome. And you obviously seem to enjoy doing that. What about this point searching thing excites you? Like, why are you so interested in credit cards?
I think it's a puzzle. There's like a thrill of the chase in terms of like finding a really good award redemption on a great flight or a really
Mhm.
cool hotel. There's it's got to be some kind. I'm sure there's science behind it, right? Like a dopamine rush or something
Yeah.
that you get when you find like Emirates first class or something. And I'm just like really addicted to that feeling of like it's like a puzzle, and I'm finding
Too.
results and I love it. So, and I'm a little bit of a spreadsheet nerd. So manipulating search tools like Seats.arrow and stuff like that, I feel like it comes really easy to me. And I really enjoy like filtering results and stuff. And that is such a niche thing that I think a lot of people hate doing. So it's cool because they can have me do it for them if they don't want to do it. But that's kind of where the excitement comes in for me.
No, that's awesome. There's actually some research where planning for a vacation excites you as much as the vacation. And if our points,
That's me.
people like us, I think we're even double that because we know it's a good deal and no one else can find it. And there's only like two award seats, so we got it. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's big facts.
cool.
Yes.
And then just to excite our viewers, has there been a really good redemption you found recently, either for yourself or for a client? Something cool you could share?
Yeah, I did kind of an insane, see, and this is what I'm saying, I'm really nerdy. So I did this kind of insane redemption recently. It took a lot of planning and watching and searching to get it, but I do have a Built Rewards credit card, which I know is one of the more kind of controversial in the hobby because it doesn't come with a sign-up bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are really against it taking up a 524 spot. But since as we'll get to later, I am always under 524. So I'm always willing to kind of maybe take chances on cards that maybe have unique features that other people wouldn't have on their list. And I've been a big proponent of the Built program for a while. And I was just kind of saving up my Built points. I don't rent, so also like controversial. I
Yeah.
really am the person that is not recommended to get this card, but I'm a little bit of a rebel. Um, Saving up my Built points, and they had that 100% transfer bonus to Air Canada in January, or I think it was February, but either way, I heard about that 5 days before they launched it because that's the amount of time they give you.
Yep.
So I only had 5 days to figure out if this bonus was like something I wanted to take advantage of.
Yeah.
I did have Built status. I kind of busted my butt at the very end of the year, the last 3 days of the year, to get gold status with Built so that I knew I'd have access to the highest level of transfers with them, or the
Mm.
second highest. They have a platinum, but
Platinum.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. But I worked at least to get gold because that was like attainable at the time.
Yeah.
So I was actually allowed to get 125% transfer bonus to Air Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I had 5 days to figure out if I was going to do it. And I was actually even traveling on those 5 days. So I was doing this research from my cell phone. I didn't have
Wow.
my laptop with me. It was like a not work trip. So I really just didn't even bring my computer. Searching every day on Air Canada because I had wanted to fly Singapore's what they call a fifth freedom route from LAX to Narita in Tokyo, and called it Fifth Freedom because it doesn't touch their hub in Singapore. And I've been wanting to fly that. I want to go to Tokyo next year.
Hmm.
So I searched every day and was like, what is the feasibility that this award is going to even be available when I need it? Because it's not time for me to book.
Hmm.
Yeah, I want to go in the summer. This was January. 3 out of the 5 days I checked, it was there. So I said, okay, I know I'm gambling here. Like I'm going to take a risk.
Hmm.
I'm going to transfer these points to Air Canada. If I don't get this Japan redemption, maybe I can use it on something else. I mean, there's always
Yeah,
somewhere I could go, right?
Air Canada's pretty good.
Yeah, Air Canada is a great program. So I was like, you know what? That's not a bad place to have points stuck. But I'm going against every rule that every Instagram, TikTok influencer will ever tell you to do. I'm just a total rebel. And I transferred 66,000 points, which equaled 150K in Air
That's
Canada.
awesome.
It was amazing. And then you already can see where this is going by the smile on my face. I searched every day. Well, I waited till my dates got a little closer, but like starting in late May, every single day I would go on Air Canada's site and just see if my redemption was there. I did have kind of specific dates. I only had about 3 days of flexibility, which is absolutely wild. And the redemption was like never there. It was never showing up. I was like, oh no, what did I do? Like, I'm not gonna get it.
Hmm.
Everybody wants to travel to Japan right now. There's just this, it's just not there. And then one day I was actually doing a search for another client and I was on a trip where I almost didn't bring my computer, but I didn't get my work done and I had to bring my laptop on this trip and I was really salty about it. I'm like, "Ugh, I have to bring my laptop. I didn't finish my work." And I was doing some work for a client and I was like, wait, while I'm in Air Canada, while I got it pulled up, let me just look. And I found they had it, 2 seats, 75,000 points, business class available the day before I needed it. But I was like, I can fudge it. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
just do it. So I basically booked Singapore business class for 33, one way for 33,000 points.
Yeah, that's nuts considering it's thousands of dollars.
That's like a $5,000 flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 33,000 points. So that really like nerdy kind of insane. Like I don't expect like a normal person to do all that. But that's what I did. So
Well,
yeah, that was my most favorite.
this wasn't planned, but I have a counterpoint to your story. So,
Yeah.
also on Air Canada has a partnership with Etihad Airways, and their
Hmm.
business class, product is really nice. So,
Yeah.
this was 2022. I was doing the same thing, searching every day, making sure the two business class seats were still up. And then the next day I check again at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., making sure I knew the exact time
Yeah.
to drop, right?
I did that too. The times, like, is it midnight? My time zone, is it midnight? Their time zone? Like, yeah.
Exactly. That's always hard to figure out. And at the end, you have to see
Yeah.
it for yourself. So I kept seeing it, kept seeing it. Like, all right, this is great. I'm going to transfer my points. But thank God I didn't, because for the dates I wanted, this was for my wife and I honeymoon, a week or two before, the Air Canada Etihad partnership kind of broke. So
Oh
they're
no.
still partners, but Etihad doesn't release those business class saver seats as
Anymore.
often. Or even I haven't heard of people being able to book on Air Canada. So as a counterpoint, if I did transfer all those points beforehand, I would have been left with it. I mean, obviously, we talked about Air Canada is very popular. It can transfer other things, but like that's the reason why you don't transfer.
Yeah, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. I took a big gamble. I went
Yeah,
against advice that I would give my own clients. Like, I wouldn't give that same advice to my own clients. I would tell them, like, don't speculatively transfer that unless you are darn sure that you know how you're going to use them. And if you have to be prepared for Singapore to just stop giving awards, because they did. They did. Like, was dead set that I just wasn't getting this redemption. I even kind of stopped checking every day at a certain point because I was like, it's not even going to be there. So definitely risk. You'd want to know, like, okay, what's your backup plan? My backup plan is I'm going to use these to get to Zurich on Swiss Air or whatever, like a backup plan that you know is consistently available. A lot of risk. There's some gambling involved in that strategy, but yeah, that's definitely the one I'm most excited about.
oh, that's awesome. But yeah, two different stories already. We're a little have different perspectives, but
Love it.
Let's get into when you talk about 524 getting new credit cards. Tell me just generally like what's your credit card strategy?
Yeah, so I'm not a total credit card minimalist. I'm not like someone who only has two cards in my wallet. I do have like seven or eight uh travel related credit cards in my portfolio.
So
I
I'm sorry to interrupt. Like for for beginners, that's like a lot of 7A is a lot, but for more the typical travel influencer points min maxer, they have 20, 30, 40, so many cards. So just to put some
Right.
context.
Sure, yeah. And those seven to eight, I mean, I've been doing this hobby since about 2016 is when I got my Chase Sapphire. I was into the hobby before that, but I was doing cashback stuff. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until 2016 I learned that that was bad, or learned that I could do better. I'm not saying cashback is always bad, but I learned that it didn't make sense for my use case. So I've been doing this, those seven or eight cards over the span of like 8 years. So that's averaging one card per year. And I'd say I open about one card a year. Some years I've opened two, some years I've opened none. So it's about one per year,
Mm-hmm.
new cards. Yeah.
And how do you go about selecting that one new card then?
There's usually it usually will fill a specific need
Mm-hmm.
that I have in my portfolio. So, if I have a good source of Chase points because I love Hyatt, I have a Hyatt card because that's where my travels usually I do have a Hyatt. I can understand if you're traveling to places where there's just no Hyatts, that's a very real problem.
Yeah.
But I didn't really encounter that where I wanted to go. There was usually a Hyatt that was good. I have a lot of Amex, I'm pretty spread out across Amex because I want to get all those really big bonuses on groceries, dining, and flights because those are the things I spend the most money on. I
Mm-hmm.
I eat out way too much. Like I'm big on dining, huge on dining. Um, so I wanted to make sure I had an Amex Gold because that's like one of the best dining cards you can get. So it has to fill some sort of a need. There has to be, I pretty much never will sign up for a card just for the sign up bonus if there's not
Mm-hmm.
a long-term reason to keep it. I don't churn. I've actually never closed a card. Never.
Wow.
Not on my own accord. I've had like stores that, store cards that close, but I've never closed a card. Even Southwest to get companion pass, I don't do it by closing my Southwest cards. So it needs to have some sort of long-term use for me in order to do it. I'm not going to get it just for the sign-up bonus. And I'm also not going to open up a card just because I have a big expense. I am fortunate enough that my spending is pretty good. My expenses are pretty good that I can usually hit a sign-up bonus. That's not normally a struggle for me. I
Mm-hmm.
spend too much on dining. So I'm never like struggling to hit a sign-up bonus. So to me,
Yeah.
it feels like if it's like, oh, I have this big tax bill, let me take advantage of it by getting a sign-up bonus. I'm like, well, I wouldn't have any issue hitting that sign-up bonus now. So why do I need the tax bill to do it? Like to me, that logic doesn't need to be there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's going to be some sort of need. So I definitely have, all the heavy hitters. I have an Amex Plat. I love my lounge access.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much that they could raise the fee and I'll still pay it like a sucker because I want my return. I know, right? Don't give them any
Yeah.
ideas. Yeah, if you work for Amex, just keep scrolling. Um, no, but I want my lounge access. I want my 5X on flights. I use a lot of those credits. I don't have an issue with that. I have an Amex Gold for the dining. I'm in the Chase atmosphere, but I don't have a Chase Reserve. I have the Sapphire Preferred. I don't feel a need for the Reserve. I don't spend enough on non-hotel and non-flight travel. Like I don't rent cars very much. So it didn't really make sense for me to need that card. I have an ink card so that I could buy gift cards at office supply stores for 5X.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a Hyatt and I have a Southwest for companion pass. And those are pretty much my main cards. And then Bill.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. It does grind my gears a little bit because it's like you're losing so many points, especially when you just mentioned the Chase Ink Cash. So that's a $0 annual fee business credit card.
Mhm.
Earns 5X, as Stephanie said, on office supply. So the trick, right, I'm assuming that you're doing is when Staples or Office Depot has a no fee promotion for their Visa or MasterCards, you're getting, those cards to get 5X back on everything. Is that
Yeah, or if I need to buy an Airbnb, because I only have the Sapphire Preferred, not the Reserve, right? So I'm only getting 2X on my Airbnb travel. I do leverage like the British Airways portal, which will get you near Airbnbs, but maybe I'll go to an office supply store and buy an Airbnb gift card, a couple $200 ones, and use those. I haven't done it recently because of their cancellation policies, but we don't have to go down that road. Or Amazon. Amazon's probably a better example than Airbnb. You could go buy an Amazon gift card so that you're not losing points on your Amazon purchases. That's probably the best example of that.
That just confuses me, because if you're doing that, if you're physically going to the store to optimize for 5x, like, why not just open a new card from the comfort of your own home, add it to your mobile wallet or get it, and then just use that? Because when you open a new card, typically the bonus is, sometimes 5, 10, 15% more. Like, I feel like that's an easier task.
To me, I actually feel like going to the store is easier than opening a credit card. And I know that, like, opening new cards, if you do it this way, if you do it right, it shouldn't be impacting your credit score. I would never come on here and tell those lies that it would, but it is something that you'd have to consider, just the velocity of opening cards. There is a certain point at which velocity could hurt your applications. I know, like Capital One, which surprisingly, I don't have a Capital One venture card. I don't. And I've never
controversial.
I know. I am thinking about getting one, only because a new strategy I might dive into is always being able to have a transfer bonus every time I transfer points. And in order to do that, I have to be in the Capital One and the Citi ecosystem. So I might get there. But if I do, I would still be following my trajectory of one card per year. I haven't opened a new card yet this year. So it could be the Venture or the Venture X.
So on that, then, if you open up all these cards in different ecosystems, like let's say the Citi Strata Premier, Venture X, great, they come with sign-up bonuses, but once those points are gone, how do you recoup those?
Well, that's the thing, is I'm maximizing tons of opportunities. And gosh, there's been some programs, especially Amex lately, that are giving away points like candy. And I actually would think this year I would have done myself a disservice if I had opened another Amex card, because I got an offer on 2 of my Amex cards, the gold and the platinum, that if you refer one person, you get 10x on all of your dining for 3 months.
I did that too. That was clutch.
Amazing. Like, if they're going to be giving me offers like this, I don't need to open new cards, and hear me out, because and someone's going to reverse engineer this to figure out how much I spend on food, and it's going to be embarrassing, but I've already earned this year, not just from that promo, but total, I've earned about 400,000 points from Amex this year. And a lot of it was from that promo, from both, because I had it on 2 cards and they overlapped a little, but they didn't overlap totally. So I ended up having it for about 5 months or 6.
That's really
5 months. I had that promo. Yeah. And I did go ham a little bit, but like, I was getting at one point 14x on my dining. When I was out with friends, I have a friend who wants to get into travel hacking, but she has a bad credit score right now. She still uses a debit card. I can't convince her. Fine. That's cool with me. But you know what? Every time we go out to eat, I'm paying the bill and she's Venmoing me every time. So I didn't quite max out. It takes a lot of spend to max out those promos,
like 50K,
but I didn't spend that much. I'm not that crazy, but so I didn't max it out, but I definitely maxed it out as much as I could without having to spend money that I couldn't afford.
Yeah, no, I did something very similarly, but my pushback is, you earn 400K points. Like, the 14x for sure. That's why I didn't open any new cards during that time either. But like, when that promo ends, you're back to 4x. Like, so then I actually recently opened the MX Business Platinum myself for the first time, because I'm about to get 250,000 points. So in a couple months, I'm gonna get the same amount of points as you, just from opening a new card. So
true.
Does it ever tempt you to get a new card when the bonus is really high, like the MX ones?
When the bonus is really high, it's tempting. It's very, very tempting. It was tempting to jump on the Chase Inc. 120K bonus that they had. I already have a Chase Inc. and I use it. I don't use it well according to the bank's definition. And I've done a lot of research on like what the banks like and don't like, because that is part of this game. And I think people who are going to be closing a lot of cards should be like equipped with this knowledge. But for Chase, if you have a business card with them and you don't use it very often, I literally lately have only been using it to occasionally buy a gift card. And I'm like, that looks bad. If I go and apply for another business card, I'm expecting them to be asking what's going on. And I don't want anything with Chase to be questionable at all. And I know like they could ask and you can answer the questions and it's probably fine. I don't want to scare people away from doing that. I just don't want to do it. So I actually didn't didn't take advantage of that ink promo, but I did take advantage last year when the Chase Unlimited, the Freedom Unlimited had the double X points on everything for a year.
Yeah.
And I'm still rocking that card. So I'm getting 6X on dining. I'm getting 6X at Walgreens CVS, where I could also get gift cards. And I'm getting 3X on everything.
Which
is
better than the Robinhood Gold card. I like that.
Yeah. So I've been using that this whole year.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to think about opening another card until that promo is going to end in November. So in November is when I would even start thinking about opening a new card. And it's already November. Like a whole year has gone by.
Yeah.
And I might not open a new card this year until the last month of the year if I feel like I need one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then going back to the points piece, obviously you mentioned you're having all these points in different ecosystems, you get the transfer bonuses. But again, you're still using points. Your points are still being depleted. Like for me, I stay at a lot of Hyatt. So last year, my wife and I, between us, we earned over 1 million Chase points because we kept referring each other to the Chase Ink cards because it was 90K bonus, 40K referral. So each card we opened, 130K points, redeemed for Hyatt's at least 2 cents per point. So that's, we can argue the value of real value points, but that's almost $2,000 per card.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we're doing all that. Like how do you really replete, again, yeah, you're using on your regular spending, but it can only be so much. 3%, 6% is nothing compared to, again, 10, 15.
Well, I'm also taking advantage of things like Rakuten, which I'm sure like people who card turn do as well, or you should be, like never leave a point on the table. Taking advantage of shopping portals, taking advantage of, when I can, if I'm in a situation where I could pay for things and friends pay me. Concerts are great for that because you all want to sit together at the concert. So someone has to volunteer to buy all the tickets. It's always me. I will proactively ask the group, hey, there's this comedy show. You want me to get us all tickets? No one even thinks twice. So, doing little things like that, referrals, but I am in a unique position and I admit it, like my privilege here of like, I do work for companies where my referral links get maxed out every year on pretty much all my cards.
Yeah.
Amex Plat is actually, an Amex Gold never really give me the good bonuses for people. So I don't max those, but my Chase cards all get maxed out as far as like referrals go. So I am earning those points. And, but I don't think that's impossible for the everyday person to do. Anyone can go on Instagram and make some posts about content and link their Chase referral link in the comments. All you need, like for that Amex promo, all it took was one, and you get that 10X for the year. Like for Chase, one promo or one referral is like 20,000 points. Like you don't need to max them out every year, but I don't want people who are thinking, oh, I'm not an influencer, I can't do this. I mean, anybody can just go make content anywhere and link your stuff and get lucky.
That's a good message. So let's turn to this question where for those that are starting their credit card journey, I think a lot of them are afraid, oh, I have to open 20 cards to be able to go on a fun trip. What do you say to those starting in their credit card journey with some advice, like anything you want to share there?
Yeah. And I think, and I didn't do a great job of like answering this part because I went off on little tangents, but the power of redeeming points is really where that comes in because so me saying I got 400,000 points this year, and that's just an Amex. That doesn't count all my double points with the Freedom. But like when I've gone on to Facebook pages and blogs and things and seen people say, they show a picture of like the 14 cards they opened this year and they tell how many points they earned, and then say what trips they took with those points. I'm looking at that saying, you didn't maximize your redemption capability. I took as many trips in business class as you did on 400,000 points. It took you 1 million points to do because you didn't take advantage of transfer bonuses, or maybe, and some people maybe aren't flexible enough. And like, I totally respect that too. Not everyone can travel the most optimal way. Maybe teachers, people in school and stuff have to travel in peak season. Okay, maybe you can't take advantage of every single saver, whatever. Yeah. But if you're doing your best to maximize every time you spend your points, then you might be able to take the same amount of trips as someone who opened 14 cards by just opening 2.
Yeah. Well, because I do think very encouraging to hear.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like that 33K to Japan, right? How many people, if you earn 1 million points, and that was easy for you to do, So let's say you just opened a few cards and you're like, look, I got 1,000,000 points. I'm a points millionaire. I'm rich.
Yeah, you could just transfer to United 200K business
200K.
class one way.
Exactly. You probably won't care if you're going to pay 200K. Now, that does give you more availability than like I have to work a little harder, obviously, to find the 33K. That took a lot of work. But doing that work doesn't cost money to like practice searching, to look every day. You could do that. Anyone can do that. Anyone with a computer or a phone can do that. So there is nothing really stopping you from just like really maximizing what you're redeeming your points for. And then you don't need as many points. And then you don't need to turn cards as much. And I think that there's a valuable, like in the corporate world, we'd call it a KPI, but there's a valuable like metric that I don't think we're tracking, or it's not like fun and buzzwordy to track this, but what about the points per card? So some people will be like points per sign-up bonus, points cents per point, like all these things we track, but who's actually tracking, I earned this many points per cards in my wallet this year. So let's say I earned 600,000 points this year, which for me, it's probably around there. And I did it with, let's say, 3 cards. Like that's 400,000 points, or that's 200,000 points like per card.
Yeah.
And now think about someone who opened 14 cards and earned like a little bit more.
Yeah.
They're earning a lot less like per card. So if you think about the card as the effort, like the effort you put in to apply, to track it, to not miss the sign-up bonus, to make the sign-up bonus.
True. Yep.
Like the effort you put into opening a new card, how many points are you earning for the effort that you're putting in? And why don't we track that?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. My one kind of argument to that
Go for it. I'm ready.
is it's much easier in terms of effort just to know I'm only working on this card, only spend on this card, versus like my wife is always like, Matthew, what card to use? What card to use? So there's efforts in both ways, but I'll let you have the last word. Any last thing you want to say? Is there more information? Where can people find you? Again, I want to give you the last word as my guest.
Oh, I love it. Oh, you make such good points though. And I know people would come to me and say that all the time. I don't want to have to put the stickers on my card and all this. I actually don't even use those stickers. I have so few cards that I just know chase freedom for everything, the gold for dining, call it a day, right? But I get it. It's not that easy for everyone. My closing thoughts, I do want everyone to realize that even though this is awesome, fun debate, that I don't think my strategy works for everyone and your strategy might not work for everyone.
I agree.
I think like getting a combination of both, whatever works for you, like that's going to be, I think, the answer to any of these questions. So I think it's a big red flag on the internet if someone says to just do this strategy all the time.
Yes.
You should be able to get all the information at your disposal. There's so much of it on the web.
That's why I'm doing this. I'm interviewing different people, different strategies.
Yeah, I love it because then people can kind of tailor their strategy to them. So don't let anybody ever tell you that only one strategy is the best, for sure. And for me, so people can find me at Be Free to Wander is my Instagram handle. The 2 is the number 2. I'm really mad about it because someone else took the word 2 and doesn't even.
I'll put the text here.
Yeah. Be Free to Wander. And then on TikTok, I am at Be Free to Wander, but it's the word 2, because someone else didn't take that one from me. And then I can also be found on at Just Get Out of Town. I'm one of their coaches. And we had this really awesome launch today where I actually took those crazy, insane skills of finding that stupid 33,000 point flight on Singapore and turned it into a course on basically how to get absolute max value out of your points. So if you are someone who can't open that many cards or just doesn't want to, you can make sure that every single redemption you get is so good that you don't have to open more cards if you don't want to. And I think that would be an awesome product for maybe some of your audience who found this conversation interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. But thanks again for your time.